from an NFL stadium that hosted NFL football on and off from 1966 until 2019. We are glad to be back under the lights at the Coliseum in Oakland. Tonight we're all set to win this, what should be a good one. It's a battle of eras, if you will. Today's NFL superstars set to face the best of the best, the Madden legends. So this should be a real treat as the two teams exit their locker rooms. Coach Madden going to have his imprint all over this one. He'll be patrolling both sidelines, trying to will each of these teams to a victory. Brandon Gaudin, Charles Davis, and there he is, the great Pat Summerall, set to do the honors. This should be a fun one. Underway here in Oakland. And it's a pretty good return here as he'll get this up to the 29. So out come the NFL superstars, and it is Josh Allen who leads them out at quarterback, the MVP of the National Football League in 2024. You know, Coach Madden always admired those field generals who could really do it all, and there might not be a more unstoppable quarterback in the league today, the number 17 of the Bills. Into the air right away is Allen. Oh, the first play of the game going to be intercepted. Picked up by Deion Sanders. And they are going to set up shop at the 40-yard line. Not something you see very often from a quarterback of his caliber, an opening drive interception.
Oh, there's no doubt in my mind that even he's surprised at how that one played out. But we know this guy. It's not going to stop him from continuing to fire as this game goes along. Probably give a little nod of respect across the field for that one and let him know he'll be back the very next series.
The legend set to go to work. It is Peyton Manning who leads him out at quarterback. Peyton spent 14 years as a Colt, 4 more as a Bronco, and the numbers, they speak for themselves. 14 times a Pro Bowler, better than 71,000 passing yards, 539 touchdown passes, and of course, twice a Super Bowl champion. And he is going to lose yardage here. Jalen Carter working his way back behind the line of scrimmage and dropping it for a loss.
When a draw works, it can be a thing of beauty. But when it doesn't, oh, it can be ugly. And in this case, loss of yardage ugly.
So the opening play of the drive goes backwards. Now they'll come up on 2nd and 12. Now Manning. And that falls to the ground, incomplete. A nice job of bodying him up defensively, and now it brings up 3rd down.
My first thought is surprise because that's one of the better tight ends around, and I've seen him pull in balls like this before. But how about a little credit to the defense forcing that incompletion?
From the gun on 3rd down, Manning. And will find the open man. That's complete. And he is out of bounds, but not before he's inside the 30. A good gain of 14 there, and it moves the chains. But Charles, it's early, but that's a key 3rd down conversion. Remember, they forced the turnover on the opening drive. Now they're in a position where they look like they'll at least get 3 out of this.
A great example of complementary football if they're able to cash this in, isn't it, partner? Because defense does its job, takes it away, turns over the offenses, pick up a nice 1st down there. Maybe it's time to think about taking a shot at the end zone because it looks like the field goal is almost assured.
At the 23-yard line.
From the 23, here's a 2nd and 5. Now Manning. Nowhere to turn this time, and he goes down. Sacked back at the 29. The Mississippi State man, Chris Jones, with a sack there. Defense went 3-4. They got some push from the inside.
And this is something in a 3-4 you don't normally get because the nose tackle who got the sack, He's usually responsible or ends up getting double-teamed and sometimes triple-teamed. How about him working his way back and putting the big guy on the ground?
Tough spot here. 3rd down and 11. Throwing now is Manning. That's caught. It's Jerry Rice. And he'll get this to the 23, but that'll be well short of what he needed.
A gain of 6 yards.
And that's good for a gain of 6. And that'll bring up 4th down.
Simple drag route here, lined up out left and tried to work his way back across the field. You probably saw me twitch there, partner, because I think he wanted the ball a little bit sooner. By the time he looked it in, defender was right on him.
And his kick here is good. And that'll make it 3-0 here in the first. So, Charles, they get to them with their first turnover of the game and then make it hurt a little bit extra with a field goal.
And anytime you give the ball up, what's the first thing a coach tells his defense? Don't let them score off of this. You've got to put out the fire. In fact, in 2021, that's what one NFL coach termed his defense. The firemen. Go out there, guys, and don't let them put some points on the board.
So after the made field goal, Pat Summerall back out to send it away. Now a hit and a loose football. And I believe the Legends got it. They did. And careless with a football there on the kick return.
And one thing I love about going to practices is trying to get around coaches and hear their catchphrases and what they really emphasize. We haven't been to a single one yet this year where a guy fielding a kick, you don't hear, tuck it away, tuck it away, tuck it away. And this time, they turned it over.
Ball security eluded him. Now Tomlinson on 1st and 10. Well, they corral him just a couple yards shy of the end zone. That burst good for 20 and a 1st down.
That's good.
You got to give him the football again here. He gets the big run down to the 2. Pay it off.
I like it. I like the call, but here's always the question. How many times do we see the big runs and the guy pats his helmet and says, take me out? Why would you go out when you've got a chance to get it again and score?
Tomlinson will score. Touchdown, Legends. Some good running there at the end of the drive. He had the burst that set up the 1st and goal, and then one play later, he's in the end zone.
Brandon, what I liked about that sequence is I'm not sure who made the play call, but they understood the situation, understood the momentum. A nice hard-charging run, give it right back to him, and let him cap things off.
Here now, Pat Summerall for the point after. He's got it, and now it's a 10-0 lead here in the opening quarter. They had the short field, and they made quick work of it. Just 2 plays to get into the end zone. So an early 10-0 lead for them now as they kick it away. And they will wrangle him down a couple yards shy of the 30. The next possession ready to get going. An exciting game for those here in attendance to see all these great players on the field. But it's also a chance to celebrate our namesake, the coach, John Madden. Some of our younger fans may not know his full story. Before the video game that now bears his name, he was the head coach of the Oakland Raiders. Had some big moments on this field, and he, of course, was on the sidelines down in Pasadena, Super Bowl 11, when the Silver and Black won their first Super Bowl title. A 32-14 victory over the middle. Oh, and his early struggles continue. Here's another one intercepted. Deion Sanders, the Hall of Famer, with a pick.
Well, they're certainly not giving much help to their defense, are they? Because for the second time now, that D has had to run back out on the field early after an interception. And remember, on the last drive, the opposing side took it in for 6 after that interception.
Well, the legends head back out, and with them the great Jerry Rice, who, of course, had his biggest years across the bay from here in San Francisco in the 80s and 90s. Rice was always one of the hardest workers out there, a real tactician at the wide receiver position. Two qualities that Coach Madden always admired. Here's what Coach Madden had to say about all the things number 80 could do to beat you.
With Jerry Rice, you have to move him around. You can play him at flanker. You can play him at X. You can play him in the slot. You can even sneak him in the backfield once in a while.
Out of the gun, it's Tomlinson. It's a 6-yard gain on the ground, and that'll make it 2nd and 4. Well, they're making an effort to get the ground game going tonight. So far, it's working.
I like what we're seeing from the offensive line. They seem to have the leverage going, and they're controlling things and reestablishing the line of scrimmage, moving that defensive front backwards, but also like what the runner's giving us, too. It appears that he's been waiting all day long to get out here and take off.
And he is met in his tracks behind the line of scrimmage. A loss on that play, and now 3rd down gets tougher. 3rd and 6.
That was well played there defensively. 2 tight ends in the formation, which essentially gave them 7 blockers up front. Hard to imagine with all that size and beef that they could let a tackler through, but that's exactly what happened. A loss resulted.
He's going to get that to his running back out of the backfield. And he's going to score. Touchdown, Legends. LaDainian Tomlinson. He scored on the ground and through the air. And his guys find a way to stretch that lead.
And that's another route that defenders would vote to take out of the game.
The wheel route?
Oh, without a doubt. You're just trying to move everybody in one direction. And whether it's a running back or another receiver, as they zip out on the sideline, you've got a problem on your hands.
Yeah, well, the defenders hate it there. It happened, and it resulted in a touchdown. Here's Pat Summerall for the extra point. He's got it, and it's 17-0.
Makes the score.
So they only needed 3 plays on that drive.
Visitors, nothing.
So an early advantage now and a good one. 17-0 our scores. They kick this one away. And he'll be stopped up at the 25. And he's off to a very poor start. 2 passes, 2 interceptions. We'll try and see if he can complete a few to the good guys here as he starts 1st and 10. Looking to put a drive together. They run with a dangerous Saquon Barkley. Trying to run inside, but nothing there. Officially, it's a 1-yard loss. That's going to bring up 2nd and 11.
I don't think any of us were surprised that they decided to start this drive on the ground after the last 2 drives ended in interceptions.
Unfortunately, though, not a lot going on that first play.
Yeah, I think the anticipation was felt also by the defense.
Now a first carry for their fullback. And not a whole lot doing there, so he'll get it up to about the 28-yard line. 2 runs in a row, but only 2 yards to show for it. 3rd and 8. Now Allen. That is caught. And he gets this one just shy of the 40, down at the 39. It's a first down. Superstars on a gain of 12.
You can almost hear the sigh of relief coming from their sideline and from their point on the field, because this has been a tough start for them thus far. A much-needed first down there. They needed something good to happen. Plays like that will continue to help them dig out of this hole.
And some nifty running there. Ultimately, it doesn't get him a whole lot, but it does take him to the 45. We are through one. So happy to have you along. It's football, it's Oakland, and it's only on EA Sports. Back with Charles Davis, I'm Brandon Gaudin. The offense already on the field here to begin quarter number 2. As they've got it with a 2nd and 4 coming up. First man throw, it's the fullback Juszczyk. And he'll take it down shy of the 45 at the 46. That one a first down pickup of 8.
Well, after that pickup of a first down, I think some of the defensive guys are going to be looking over their coordinator and saying that was not in the scouting report. That went against every tendency most teams have. You don't usually hand the ball to your big guy in that situation. Sometimes you catch him by surprise.
And a very determined run there as he'll take this all the way down to the 27. Good effort. That burst good for 20 and a first down.
Exactly what they needed right there, because they needed to use the ground game to take some pressure off, because the quarterback's been struggling a little bit.
This offense finding its legs now. Here's another 1st and 10. Throwing now is Allen. Complete to the tight end, Kittle, over the middle of the field. Another good gain. That's now 35 yards combined on those last 2 plays.
What a drive this has been, just chewing up the yardage. And here's one of their best plays yet, as they finally get down into the red zone and look to finish this off with 6.
From down at the 12, it's 1st and 10. On play action, Allen. The same target, same result. It's Kittle. And that's good for a pickup of 10 yards. And they'll be left with a 2nd and about a foot.
A lot of tight ends just use their size and their strength, try to occupy some space and kind of body people away and catch the football. But not this guy. He's a refined route runner. Makes me wonder if he took some dance classes in his background with his footwork.
And hit behind the line. He lost the football. It's loose. And the offense is able to pounce on it inside the 5-yard line. Could have been a costly mistake, but as it turns out, they keep possession.
You can't give away these types of opportunities in the red zone. And I'm sure that was flashing through his brain as the ball escaped his hands. Fortunately for him, able to get picked up by his team, fumble recover.
George Kittle from 3 yards out. And his guys are able to cut into that deficit. Well, down in this part of the field, CD, they'd love to get him the football, and right there, a little pitch and catch for the score.
Yeah, and he's such a weapon when it's that close to the end zone, and they love being able to rely on him to make those kind of catches. Talk about trust, talk about confidence, and he produces.
Brandon Aubrey now for the extra point. And it's 17-7. So the drive goes 75 yards, 10 plays. And it all ends with a George Kittle touchdown. So after the touchdown, Aubrey now to kick this one away. And he takes this near the 25. Just a little pass there. Call it the 26. The legends going back on offense. Hall of Famer LaDainian Tomlinson in there at running back. And you think back to those Raider teams of the 70s. Coach Madden always loved to run the football, and he had some great running backs to rely on. But no one quite like LT, who he held in high regard. And here's what he had to say about the all-around abilities of the Charger great.
LaDainian Tomlinson is one of the best backs in the league. He has it all. I've watched him and I thought, I don't know if there's a guy that's better at running and catching and blocking and doing all the things that you have to do to be a running back.
So 5 yards here, 5 on the play. And it's second down.
They'd love to just strike back with a touchdown right here, and if it's a long play, so be it. But the main goal, get a couple of first downs, run some plays, run some clock, allow their defense to get a chance to catch their breath, settle down, and relax a little bit after they just gave up the score.
And he'll be brought down right around the 37. They got 5 through the air last play, now 5 on the ground. 1st and 10.
Well, you know they had a third down play on standby just in case, but he says no need with that carry. Runs like that will continually earn him more work in this and future contests.
Play action. Manning. Got a man. It's Randy Moss complete. And able to get this one across the 45 before he's brought down. It's a gain of 11 yards that time, and it produces a new set of downs.
Look, we came into this one focused on Randy Moss, and now he has our full attention with his first grab of the game.
Well, he's one of only 2 players to go a whole season averaging over 100 yards receiving and average a touchdown per game as well. That's a pretty impressive stat.
It really is, especially when you consider that every defense he faced was prepared for him and was kicking coverages in his direction.
Credit him with a 1-yard gain there to make it 2nd and 9. 2 minutes remaining in this first half of football. Now 2nd and 9. Manning. It's a short one here, complete to the tight end. Call it a gain of 6 on the play. And this will wind up being a 3rd and 3.
Brandon, perfect defense in this situation would have meant that there was an incompletion. They would have picked it off. Okay, so they gave up the completion. But I really enjoyed watching how the defense stayed in sync, stayed in great communication. And as he dragged across each zone, you see him pointing, communicating. There he is, and it passed him up to each defender. Ended up making a nice play, even though it was complete.
Back-to-back receptions for him, and it's another first down.
1st and 10 at the 36-yard line.
And defensively, they were in zone coverage there. Do you have to be a little careful you're losing playing against a good quarterback like he is to not play too much zone?
Yeah, you have to be careful about how much time you're giving up. I think it's a good point you just brought up. So maybe if you still want to play zone, you go to a zone blitz scheme. And you can drop anyone out of your defensive front, defensive end, defensive tackle. It doesn't matter. You just exchange someone to bring more pressure towards the quarterback and still try and cover downfield.
Here's 2nd and 7. Again, they'll throw with Manning. And inside the 20 before he's brought down. 15 yards on the play, first down.
That's good.
And it's a real luxury when you have a guy who can turn a short throw into a solid gain at any moment. Once he caught that ball, he ID'd where the open grass was and got there in a hurry to pick up a new set of downs for his offense.
The Legends going to use the first of their timeouts as the clock stops here with 46 seconds remaining in the first half. So from inside the 20, here's 1st and 10 at the 18. Here's Manning to throw. That is caught. Touchdown, Legends. Tony Gonzalez. An 18-yard touchdown grab. And his guys are going to add on to their lead.
That score that they just gave up there, that's a tough one for their defense to swallow because they've had a tough time through the first 2 quarters. They really were determined to get a stop there, unable to do so. That makes their comeback hopes that much more difficult.
Summerall now for the extra point. And that'll make this a 3-score game as the lead moves to 17. A good drive that time as they go 9 plays in all. After the touchdown, here's Summerall to send this one away. Juke. And up to about the 26-yard line, just across the 25. This offense back to work now late in this first half. And with a 3-score deficit staring them in the face, they might have to press the issue here and try to get points out of this drive. Here's Allen to throw it. Open man downfield is Chase. He's got it. And he goes out of bounds just shy of the 45. An excellent way to start the drive there, 18 yards.
Now that's the kind of big play you'd like to see. This first half, it hasn't gone their way, and they could use a shot in the arm, something to perk them up a bit. And they get one here in the passing game.
To throw, it's Allen. We'll get this out to Barkley, complete. Now the offense going to use the first of their timeouts as they'll stop it with 27 seconds remaining here in the second quarter. Back-to-back good plays have them on the move on first down. Allen to Jefferson on the slant. And he's got this down to the 35. Now another timeout called for by the offense. So that means they're down to one remaining here as we head toward halftime. Now Allen connects with Kittle underneath. 2 yards on the pickup there. And it's second down. Now the offense will burn their third and final timeout as they stop it with 16 seconds to go in half number one. This is 2nd and 8. Here's Allen. Now throw right side here, going to be incomplete.
And when you throw as many interceptions as he has in this one, you definitely start getting a little hesitant to throw the ball out wide because that's prime pick-6 territory. That time, he made sure the only guy who was going to catch it was sitting in the third row.
The 25-yard line is what they need here. This is third down. And again, it's Allen. He had a man open, but he missed him, and it's incomplete.
It's now 4th down.
They'll turn things over to Brandon Aubrey now for the field goal. From the left hash, it's an even 50-yard attempt. And this will split the uprights. It's right down the middle. But now there is a penalty marker on the field, so let's see what this is about. Well, they got the ball already. They're not going to risk the yardage and running another 4th down. They decline it.
And what was that they taught you in law school, that possession is 9/10 of the law?
I didn't go to law school.
Oh, you didn't? I thought you did. Well, I'm going to give that to you anyway. Possession is 9/10 of the law, and it's 9/10 of this game, too. Having the football counts.
You're so litigious. So time it up for a kickoff here. 5 seconds remaining in this first half. And they will not get a chance to return this one. It's through the back of the end zone for a touchback. The Legends making their way back out on offense with Terrell Owens at wide receiver. Owens, former third-round pick of the 49ers in 1996, and really came out of nowhere. Played at Chattanooga, but he developed into one of the great receivers in NFL history. And Coach Madden always appreciated the different ways in which T.O. could be a factor in a ball game.
Terrell Owens is such a big, strong, powerful guy. You don't always have to get the ball to him deep. You can hand it to him on a reverse, throw it to him on a slant, and he can just run right through the defense.
And with just 1 second remaining in the first half, they'll call the timeout. Tomlinson again, a first down carry. And this will go as a short gain on what will be the final act of this first half.
All right, Brandon, thanks so much. We'll do our best to keep things snappy here at the half as we run through some of the highlights. Mostly Legends highlights, as to be expected. Want to remind you that coming up immediately after the game, stick around for the presentation of the turducken to our winners. Certainly something to play for the second half to come. Who gets the first bite? We will find out soon as we send it back out to the Coliseum for the call of the second half. Brandon and Charles take it away.
Okay, Scott, thank you. Would have loved to have been a fly on the wall in either of these two locker rooms to listen to Coach Madden's speeches as we get set to resume play. So it's the Legends with the lead, and they'll get the football first as the second half is back underway. And able to get this across the 20, but not much further as he's dropped it to 23-yard line. But the Legends set to take over on offense once more. And you look at this roster on both sides of the ball. So many Hall of Famers, so many players who truly defined excellence in the National Football League. And you just think, how excited would John Madden have been to actually be able to coach this team? I'm reminded of his Hall of Fame speech, 2006, where he talked about how he thought the bronze busts in Canton, once the last guest had left for the day, would talk to each other at night. And somehow I have the feeling he was spot on in that intuition. And he's going to be taken down right at the line.
As a defense, you're more balanced when you're in zone coverage because you're able to keep your eyes on the quarterback and see the play develop in front of you. They're able to keep the quick pass in front of them and stop it right at the line of scrimmage.
Manning now to throw. Throw left side complete. That's Rice. And he'll be out of bounds across the 30-yard line. A gain of 8 there on the play. And that'll leave him with a third and just a yard. So they just need 1 yard here to pick up the first down. To throw is Manning. Work in the middle of the field, and he's got a man complete. And brought down, but not before reaching the 45-yard line. Instead of a 3rd and 1 run, they go pass, and they get 12 yards out of it.
And now we get into the psychology of the whole thing because a lot of teams with a 2-score lead in the third quarter, they almost become defensive with their offense, just playing not to lose. I think with this team, you got to figure at this point, this is a great spot for them to go into attack mode, really try to put the hammer down and finish this one off.
He'll lose a yard there, and it's 2nd and 11.
And plays like that are exactly what this defense needs here early in the second half to give it a little spark. I think their halftime adjustments, what they talked about, maybe it was just a little inspirational speech. Who knows? But looks like they're ready to go.
Throwing is Manning. Got a man, it's Randy Moss. They'll wind up getting 10 back as that sets him up for 3rd down.
A gain of 10 brings up 3rd and 1.
Manning going to throw. And that's going to be incomplete. The coverage too good there. The contact popped the ball free, and it's fourth down. To give you an idea of how accurate he's been throwing the football, we're in the second half. That's just his second incompletion.
Well, if he's that locked in, that means everyone's locked in, because to me it's like throwing a no-hitter in baseball. The pitcher may get the credit, a lot of people making plays behind him in the field.
And well done here. That one will kick out of bounds at about the 8-yard line. Now we take a glance at the offense as they work their way back out for their first possession of the second half. And their defense did its job by forcing the punt to start things out, and now, Charles, can the offense get in gear?
I think, partner, you can sense them saying, okay, the first half was theirs, but now let's get the momentum back on our side. We forced a punt. Now let's go downfield and score. If we do that, we'll be set up well for this second half.
To the air. Allen. Throw left side, complete to Chase. And he's only able to work this from the 8 to the 10 for a pickup of 2.
And I think he just wanted to give the ball to one of his playmakers to see if they can make something happen, but he ends up throwing into a crowded area. And after the catch, he isn't able to do much with it.
And they'll come up 2nd and 7. Allen now looks to throw. Oh, he's got a man wide open, complete. And they finally take him down, but not before he reaches the 43. And what a big-time play there. 46 yards.
They made that way too easy for them. No one is supposed to be that open against an NFL defense. Once he caught the ball, there wasn't anybody close enough to stop him. And he was able to continue downfield after making the catch.
This will be incomplete. Oh, a dream chance for a D lineman, but he couldn't pull that one in.
And those two just haven't been in sync thus far. They've done a nice job against him, but still, with his talent, you would expect them to have more completions to him in this game.
On the quick handoff, it's Juszczyk. 5 yards, now it's 3rd and 5.
And that's why the fullback position was created. You just want a big, strong, powerful guy you can hand the ball to and pick up good yardage.
This offense in desperate need of a conversion as they come up on 3rd down. Working out of the shotgun. Here's Allen. He's got his target. That's complete. A gain there of 15. Good for a superstar's first down.
Result is a first down.
It's taken a while for this offense to get going. A little creaky at the start, but they're oiled up now. A nice throw there, and they're really putting together a good drive.
Allen going to throw. This one caught by Kittle. And he's going to score. Touchdown, Superstars. George Kittle, his 2nd touchdown of the night. And his guys are able to make this a close game again. That's the score you felt they had to have here in the 3rd quarter to get back in this game.
And you know that there was an emphasis on their side. Hey, we know this. We know where we are. But sometimes that binds you up so much that you try too hard, you don't get the score. A perfect combination of urgency, yet relaxed enough to get it done.
Aubrey now for the point after. He's got it, and it's 24-17. A drive that time of 6 plays. And it all ends with a George Kittle touchdown. So after the touchdown, Aubrey now to kick this one away. And he'll be tackled just shy of the 25. So this offense back out and set to go for their next drive. And their lead cut in half by that touchdown a moment ago. They are up 7 as they begin this drive, 1st and 10. Looking to put a drive together. They fake the handoff. Now Manning. And he's going to be brought down here in the backfield. Chris Jones, his 2nd sack of the night.
Like how they've started the 3rd quarter here. They force a punt on the first drive, and after this sack, it looks like they'll be forcing another one as well.
Absolutely. Maybe got their 2nd win coming out of the locker room. Final minute now of the 3rd quarter. Now Manning. Throwing this ball out here to Tomlinson. And he'll be marked down at the 26 with a gain of 7.
And we see another pitch and catch there to the running back. This position just continues to evolve. They become just as critical to the passing attack as a lot of receivers, tight ends, because their ability to make people miss in the open field can really generate big plays for an offense.
Now Manning. Oh, he had him. He was open, but he couldn't get it to him. It's incomplete.
And that's a really good job there defensively. They went into this possession knowing that they needed to get a stop. They're in a tight ball game, and they got it done. Great work to force the 3 and out. Got the football right back for their offense. They've got to go to the sidelines feeling pretty good about themselves and encouraging their offensive mates to get some points.
Dancing away at the 35. It's a 45-yard punt and 8 on the return. And that will come the offense as they take over.
At their own 36-yard line.
Trying to get one more in here before the quarter breaks. Now Allen connects with and now a fumble. The ball's out. And I believe the Legends got it. They did. 1 quarter to play. It's football once again here in the East Bay. The fans love it. And we're back after this. This is a special presentation of the NFL on EA Sports. Back now here on EA Sports. As we've got the final quarter upon us, we get ready to start the 4th. They'll go up the gut with Tomlinson. Down to about the 37.
Good push from the offensive line, and they've done well so far to build this lead. Now, they've got to get things to the finish line, and that's a solid pickup there to begin the drive.
Here's 2nd and 5 now from the 37. Again, it's Tomlinson. 67 yards rushing for him now as he's run it 11 times.
A gain of 12 yards. That's good for a first down.
I know we're in the era of wide-open football, a lot of spread formations, more space, but there's still a spot for power football, and we just saw some of it right there. How about that run?
Yeah, breaking the tackle, and, you know, late in this game, he wants a football in his hands. He's had a good day. And not much. Maybe a yard down to the 23.
Well, any lane that might have been open there was closed pretty quickly, and that was because the defensive front, they won that battle at the point of attack at the line of scrimmage. They used great leverage, held their spot, and stacked him up.
Here's a 2nd and 8. Now they'll throw it with Manning. And it's a short one here, complete to his tight end.
Complete to
And there's a completion to the tight end. And look at the size of these players nowadays. At that spot, 6'4", 6'5", and up. A lot of guys used to be basketball players, somehow came back to football. And that's really good for the game of football. You're getting better athleticism, great hand-eye coordination, guys who know how to control their bodies when they run their routes.
On third down, LaDainian Tomlinson. And stopped a few yards shy of the goal line at the 3. They're able to convert on third down, and that sets up a 1st and goal.
And a first down.
I was used to joke with my teammates who carried the ball a lot. When we got in these situations and they were carrying us home, I used to tell them, boy, you guys just look like Paul Bunyan, just growing, stronger, bigger, tougher. And all night long, he's carried this team.
He has indeed. Everything magnified right now. A huge third down conversion. They'll try to pound it in with Allstott. And he is into the end zone for a touchdown. Mike Allstott taking it in from 2 yards out. And they are able to add on to their advantage. We talk so often about how hard it is to win in the NFL when you turn the ball over. And here a late turnover leads to a fourth-quarter touchdown and a 2-score lead.
And what's more important is being able to take advantage when a turnover presents itself. You've got to come up with points to make the other guy pay. They're able to do so here, and they've got a pretty good chance now of winning this football game.
Visitors 17.
After the touchdown, here's Summerall to send this one away. And not much happening on the return as he'll get this to about the 23. And now this offense comes back out onto the field. And right now, they're in a bit of a tough spot here, CD. You're trailing by double digits. Remember the last time out, they fumbled. They're going to have to play some clean football here on this possession.
And all the talk on their sideline has been about taking care of the football, making sure that they're handling the ball correctly. So you know they'll be squeezing the rock pretty tight here. They just have to be careful not to go so hard at doing that they actually cause themselves other problems. Take care of the ball, but still try and play free and natural.
The catch and run, good for 24 yards.
24-yard gain on the play. And a first down.
All right, this is the time of the game where they're down a couple of scores, and they've really got to get some yards in chunks, and they know the defense doesn't want to give those up, but they've got to find a way to take them anyway.
Now the question is, can they string a few of those together? Throwing now is Allen. Got a man open, it's Chase. And they'll get him down as he's inside the 40. A gain of 13 there. Good for a superstar's first down. You cannot write these guys off just yet, not with a quarterback like that under center.
You mean it actually crossed your mind with him running the team that you could actually maybe write this game off?
Not yet.
Not a chance. Not with him. We've seen it too many times.
Open man right side is St. Brown. And he gets it down a yard or two shy of the 30 before he's out of bounds. So 8 yards on the completion there, and it'll be second and a couple. That's just his second catch of the game. They wanted to keep him silent. They have kept him silent.
Defensive football 101. Don't let the best player on offense beat you. Take him out of the game, and they've done a great job of doing that.
This one goes out wide for Barkley. And inside the 20 before he's brought down. It's a gain of 14, first down Superstars.
Another nice play there. They've gotten down into the red zone in no time at all. That's what this offense can do when they get on a roll. And now they're set up with a 1st and 10.
So from the 17 now, here's a 1st and 10. Again, they'll throw with Allen. Gets this one to Juszczyk. And he's going to get a solid gain of 9 before being brought down. Second and right at a yard.
Well, this has certainly been a nice drive with the way they've spread the football around. Here, they even get the fullback involved in the passing game. That's got to cause a lot of consternation on the defensive side. You've got to cover him, too. That makes things really difficult.
Here's Allen to throw it. That is caught. Touchdown, Superstars. Kyle Juszczyk, a 7-yard touchdown grab. And his guys have made this a one-score game now. So how about that for an answer? They get the touchdown there, and it's back to a one-score game here in the fourth.
And that's what these guys have done all game long because they've scratched and slashed their way to stay in this game. And by now, we should all realize they're not going away. Now the pressure again swings to their defense because they're going to need to find some way to get the ball back.
Aubrey now for the PAT. And that'll cut the lead down now to a touchdown.
Makes the score.
So the drive there took 6 plays.
Visitors 24.
So after the touchdown, Aubrey now to kick this one away. And they'll get him down inside the 30 at the 27. Now this offense back out and set to go for their next drive. This drive here beginning probably with a pair of motivated groups. Remember, the offense scored a touchdown on their last time out, looking to repeat that in Charles's defense. They were very frustrated after giving up 6 the last time on the field.
And frankly, it's just a battle of wills in a lot of ways because you know they're both motivated, they both game plan for this drive, and they both have specific outcomes in mind. To me, it just comes down to who can execute better and which side can step up and assert its will over the other.
It'll be a minimum pickup, and it will take us to the 2-minute warning. Whistles now in a timeout defensively. So a wise move as they'll use the first of their timeouts to force one more play before the 2-minute warning. Second and 6. To throw, it's Manning. Got his man complete over the middle. It's Gonzalez. 2 minutes to play here in Oakland. Who gets the turducken? It's on its way in from the oven, and we'll find out who gets it after this. And they'll try and pick it up with Allstott, the fullback. So fresh out of the 2-minute warning, and here's another timeout taken with 1:55 remaining.
It's 4th down.
Here's Andy Lee now as he'll come on to kick this one away. Returnable here for St. Brown. That'll be a 41-yard punt, just 1 yard on the return. And they will take over 1st and 10. The visitors' offense and their quarterback headed out for this next possession. And this defense might be about ready to wave the white flag. Nothing they have tried to throw at him has been that successful. He just processes things so quickly and makes a right read seemingly every time. Here's 1st and 10. Allen. To Barkley on the check down. And he'll be out of bounds across the 30-yard line.
It didn't check off every box, but the most important one. Got the clock stopped, getting out of bounds. They may be a little short of the first down, but I thought that was the key.
Here's 2nd down. To throw is Allen. That's complete to Chase.
That gets them the first down, but they've still got to move quickly here.
Chase. A gain of 9 yards and a 1st down.
Just the one timeout remaining as they try to navigate this 2-minute drill. 1st and 10. Completes this to Jefferson.
Short gain, last 2 plays. Who do you think's excited about that?
Absolutely. This defense are saying go right ahead with those.
2nd and 5 at the 46-yard line.
Here comes 2nd down at 5. Here's Allen. Short throw caught by Bowers. And he's going to get out of bounds with the 1st down. So an ideal set of circumstances there. They move the chains, and they save that final timeout.
Well, they got the yardage they needed there, picked up the 1st down, got out of bounds. How about the urgency that they have, as well as they understand where they are on the field?
Now Allen. Complete to the tight end, Kittle, over the middle of the field. And he is tackled inside the 40, not quite to the 35.
That's a nice job right there, partner, because they were able to work down the middle of the field, working in the seams, because I think defensively, they were guarding the sidelines, trying to keep them from getting out of bounds. They took what they gave them, and it was successful.
Throwing, Allen. He dumps it off to Barkley. And he gets it down a yard or 2 shy of the 30 before he's out of bounds.
Just about every quarterback is trained to really look downfield first before you come back and make a nice, safe throw. And in this case, that's exactly what he did. Found his running back, let him create some space, and it turned out to be a nice play for the offense.
Allen. And that'll be caught by St. Brown. And they'll have it in the red zone before he crosses over out of bounds. That's what they need right now. Get the 1st down, get out of bounds, stop the clock.
Just playing smart football, understanding the situation, making the plays necessary, and making sure that clock stops at every opportunity.
Well, this offense still has the 1 timeout here, remember. 1st and 10. And he is across and in for the score. And now they can tie the game in the final stages with an extra point.
Or they can go for 2 and go for the win. And while it appears the heavy lifting was accomplished by scoring the touchdown, they're still down 1. That extra point is not a gimme.
Aubrey now for the point after. And we may very well be headed to overtime.
That ties the game, 31.
So that drive in total 8 plays. And the touchdown and PAT mean we are tied here in the final minute of play. This one, all we could have asked for. All tied, final minute as it kicks away here. And that'll be a little too hot to handle as it will skip through the end zone for a touchback here.
35-yard line.
They'll come up 1st and 10 here. Now Manning. It's a short one here, complete to the tight end. And the Legends going to use the first of their timeouts as they'll stop it with 13 seconds left to play. Here comes 2nd down. Manning to throw. Throwing into traffic there, and that's complete. And we've got a timeout. 9 seconds remaining. Right there, he rose to the occasion late in a close game.
It's something he thought about, dreamed about, and worked on throughout his career. because in these types of situations, he wasn't going to allow extra coverage to keep him from getting the football.
This is 1st and 10. To throw is Manning. Spins past him. And they'll get him down as he's inside the 40. The Legends now going to use their 3rd and final timeout. And as the two teams talk it over on their respective sidelines, we take a break. And now it all rests on the right foot of their kicker. And we will get a timeout with 2 ticks left. So on is their kicker, and it's down to this. This from 55 yards out. And that's off the right upright. Thought it might sneak in, but it did not. It's no good. And that changes everything here in OT. Well, 4 quarters couldn't decide things, so it's on to overtime here as the kick is away. And he won't quite make it to the 25. So here's the home side to take over on offense.
At their own 24-yard line.
Looking to put a drive together. Throwing is Manning. It's a short one here, complete to his tight end. The result, only 4 yards there on the play. And it'll be 2nd down.
Well, they're unable to convert that into much, but it's never a bad idea to try to get the ball into a tight end of his caliber's hands and see what kind of disruption he can cause.
Opening drive of overtime. Both teams will get a possession, barring a defensive score. Here's 2nd down. And he's got room. And they get him down, but not before he takes it across the 40-yard line. 15 yards on the play. 1st down.
We use the word relentless a lot with guys who are aggressive on the field. In this case, it really fits, doesn't it? How about his ability to break tackles and his feet never stop moving?
Another carry here for the fullback all-star. And nowhere to run on the interior of that defensive line. He'll get back only to the line of scrimmage.
After a play like that, there should be congratulations all the way around, I think, because if you can stop a big fullback like that, that's not easily done.
Yeah, he does not go down easily. You're right, but he did there. Manning gonna throw. That'll be caught over the middle by Moss.
It's a game of matchups, and that's why you take your receivers and move them around a bunch, especially your best guys. And when they work out of the slot, you often hear the coaches talk about how great it is because it gives you a two-way go. You can break out or you can break in. That makes it hard to defend.
Manning now to throw. Over the middle, complete. It's Rice. And able to pick up the 1st just across midfield to the 47. They're able to convert with a gain of 4. So he hooked up with a veteran there, and in overtime, that's not a bad idea. Go with the age and the experience.
Yeah, because sometimes the young guys, they give you the fresh legs and give you all that bounce. But in this type of a situation, sometimes those legs slow down a little bit as the enormity of the moment overwhelms them. The veteran guys, they tend to come through.
Zach Bond there on the tackle.
They suspected that it was a power play up the middle coming at them, and boy, were they right. That defense got downhill in a hurry and limited them to just a couple on first down.
Ball spotted at the 45. Here's a 2nd and 8. They stay on the ground. Tomlinson. And a good job of finding the open space to run as he's down close to the 30 here. 106 yards rushing for him now as he is just trying to will his guys to an overtime victory.
Well, that last run makes this a 100-yard night. I've loved the way he's hit the holes. He's been quick, he's been decisive, and he's been a whole lot of fun to watch.
Here's Manning to throw. Short throw complete to Gronkowski. And down inside the 15 he goes. The catch and run, good for 18 and a first down. Charles, you get into these overtime situations, that's not a bad guy to dial into.
Well, when you have to have plays, especially in a spot as you just described, we're in OT, you've got to go to the guys you can trust and you know are going to make the plays. Well, they say, it's not the X's and the O's, it's the Jimmies and the Joes.
And he's got it. And stopped a few yards shy of the goal line at the 3.
Just picking up yardage in bunches here these last few plays. They have moved right down the field, and just like that, they're going to be set up with a 1st and goal.
A chance now to strike first in the overtime session and get a big leg up. 1st and goal. They'll run Tomlinson. And maybe a measure of revenge there. He's had his way in this one, but this time they get him behind the line. He's had some big runs in this game. Not there, though.
But I don't think they're going to be deterred by that play right there. He's had some nice runs in the game. And how many times have we seen a good running back get stopped, yet turn it into something big on a later carry? I'd stay with him.
And for one of the first times tonight, he's going to be held up at the line of scrimmage. So stuff for no gain on 2nd down brings up a pretty interesting 3rd from this distance.
I'm throwing the ball, and I'm not even thinking about play pass. I'm going to let them know right away I'm throwing it, but I'm probably giving my quarterback some room, sprint him out to one side or the other, and give him an opportunity. If it breaks down, he can take off and run for it.
And that is incomplete, but a penalty flag coming in. This could be a 1st down. So the ball's moved to about the 1 after the penalty. 1st and goal. Tomlinson. And this is a touchdown. That's not over yet, but they draw first blood here in this overtime.
Well, he'd been the workhorse on this drive, and it would have been unfair to bring someone else in to finish the job. So they go back to him again, and he delivers with a touchdown run.
Here's Pat Summerall for the extra point. And they will take a 7-point lead now. So that drive, 12 plays in length. And it's all capped off on the touchdown run by LaDainian Tomlinson. After the touchdown, here's Summerall to send this one away. Oh, nice move. And he brings us out past the 20 to the 24. The NFL superstars now ready for their next possession. A lot of time for this unit to game plan on the sideline after that drive that they watched the other side just score. But remember, last time they were out, they scored as well. We'll see if they can seize that momentum right back.
And they have had a lot of time to cool off from reaching the end zone the last time. So have they been able to keep themselves mentally sharp and into this game, even though they haven't been on the field? And you and I both know, one big play, though, gets them right back up to that level. I tell you what, when you're down on the scoreboard, you've got to look to your stars, and that's what they do here to start the drive. I wouldn't be surprised if they looked his way a few more times in short order. That one, well designed, and it's a quick first down.
Throwing is Allen. Connects with Kittle underneath. That little dinking and dunking that they're doing, at some point, is it appropriate to maybe take a shot?
It is, if you feel good about it. But otherwise, you do what a coach told me a long time ago. Take what they give you, but make them tackle. In other words, get it to one of your guys in space. If he makes someone miss, that could turn into the big play you're looking for.
And before this second down play, we'll get a whistle, a signal, and a timeout. They'll be left with just one remaining here at OT. They need a matching touchdown here to keep their hopes alive. Here's second down. Now Allen. And that could be a killer. He'll lose yardage and tackled inbounds.
Well, Brandon, we could see that play developing, and they were hoping that he was going to be able to put a move on the first guy and turn it into a big play. But no such luck. The speed on defense continues to get better and better in the NFL. Pretty nice example there of those guys being able to run from their assignments and finish off that play.
Third and 9 here. Here's Allen. And the legend's going to get there. He is taken down. A well-designed corner blitz that gets him for a loss of 8 yards. Everybody was coming on the blitz that time, and they got home.
And you know the expression, hat on a hat, in terms of blocking, trying to keep your quarterback protected? Well, if you don't have enough hats, that's the end result. Your quarterback goes down, and sometimes he goes down hard.
A stop here is a game winner in overtime. Here comes fourth down. So the shotgun snap to Allen. That's down the field for Jefferson. And this is incomplete. Oh, it looked like he had a pretty good line on that one. That would have been a big play, but he could not pull it in. So it's a win here in Oakland for the Legends. And after a great night of football, time for the best of traditions. Sure, it's great to lift the Lombardi Trophy, but a close second might be lifting that turducken and taking a big bite after a hard-fought victory. And for Charles Davis and our entire crew, I'm Brandon Gaudin. As expected, a win for the Legends as we say so long from Oakland.